This is the EGC 20k Age of Empires 4 tournament. The semi-finals are on, only 4 generals still standing. Let's resume the conflict! Welcome back. It's good to meet you. My name's Anuki, and let's get to know 2 other people, though don't get too attached because one of them will eventually be eliminated. On the west side of the river, wrapped up in red, this time rampaging as the Mongols, it's RecoN! And their stone Uvu is quite far away from their starting locations. But anyway, cross the river and who will you find? It's those pesky blues ready to release their Rus rage. It's TheViper! This time we are returning to the Mongolian Heights, a lovely map with a few choke points along the river to really funnel the fighting. There are fishing opportunities, albeit minimal, along the river too. There's also some big cliffs, actually absolutely huge ones in fact, to the northeast and southwest. We've had a switch in civilizations. In round 1, RecoN was in command of the Rus and Viper in command of the Mongols. Now it's Viper's turn to hunt for bounty. It was quite a fierce assault from RecoN and one that Viper truly had to overcome. Now the 2 have switched civilizations. It'll be interesting to watch the differences in approach, but it's not quite as simple as just playing the civilizations better than one another. The map is a factor. How will both players approach this map? With maps like Mongolian Heights with just a few choke points, the first decision to consider is whether or not anyone wants to try and wall off or put a tower. Or just, have some semblance of control over the choke points. It doesn't necessarily have to be structural. You can just put units there or build docks and have boats that fire and do incredible damage against land units. The Mongols can't do walls, so they only have the 2 latter options, along with a third final option, I guess, which is do nothing and just turtle. Though it's a lot easier to turtle if you control the narrow pathways. Viper approaching the 100 bounty and a collection of sheep. In the previous match, Viper denied so much bounty that I don't think RecoN was able to reach even the 2nd tier bounty. RecoN has a dock and a fishing ship already active. Viper is gonna dock him right in the face. This brings us to the Lodya ship, one of Rus's special unique units. It's a wacky piece of wooden machinery. Where do we start to explain this? First of all, the Lodya ships can be repurposed. That's a lot of sheep. So you can change a fishing ship to an attack, trade, transport, or demo ship. This costs some wood and gold to do, and secondly, the fishing ships don't need to return to the docks to fish. Really handy on big ocean maps, and also if your dock gets destroyed, the fishing ship can still function. I think that's pretty much everything to do with the Lodya ship. It's very nifty. Oh, and it's quite big. Wow, now that's a ship. I'm not sure the size is an advantage. Can probably box in some smaller ships.
The mothership nuzzles its younglings along the coast. It's only when the baby ships are older that they will be able to sail and navigate waters without Mummy's oars.
Alright, what's next? It's Daddy's ship! I'm gonna teach you how to blow a cannon and fix a rudder. That's the way to go. Well, whilst everyone's playing Happy Families in the middle, Viper's reached the 250 bounty. Congratulations to them. They're now up on the ledge, and it gives me anxiety how close to the edge they are. That's a steep fall, and I'm afraid of heights, and I'm not afraid to admit it. But I am afraid that one day I will be afraid to admit I'm afraid of heights. I think about this every night. Regardless, map exploration continues, and I've just noticed RecoN went all the way around Viper's settlement. They are just discovering it now. That's rather late, but they probably knew where it was by
process of elimination with the Fog of War. Sometimes, though, spawn points for maps are not as symmetrical as they are supposed to be. I'm sure the map generation has some touching up to do. We have a tower going down for RecoN, watching over the dock area. These Lodya ships will sail to the south whilst RecoN's first spearmen start the slow demolition process. Lodya ships, like I say, they can still fish without a dock. It's still useful. Viper has broken to the 400 bounty. Congratulations to them, claiming many of the wildlife on RecoN's side of the river. Once again, this bodes extremely well for their economy. Going with the Golden Gate landmark. Even more economy. We didn't get to see that in the last match as RecoN went with the Kremlin. An early defensive landmark, but it wasn't defending early. RecoN getting some control now on the central choke point. We'll probably see the Deerstones landmark, so these outposts can provide the Yam network. RecoN keeping eyes on those Lodya ships. Viper still producing boats, even though their dock is under attack and going down, pushing out whatever they can get. Will RecoN control the waters then? It sure looks like they will. And without having denied much bounty, they could probably use something like a load of fishing boats to offset that. A second tower on the opposite side of the river. That one will be harder to defend, but it's creating a lovely area of protection for these fishing boats. The spearmen torching the ships on the coast now too. These waters belong to RecoN. Pike off! Feudal Age has arrived. Now, before this escalates, I'm mentally reminding myself that we have an announcement to do. I forgot it for the last few games. This is the first ever tournament hosted by the EGC, the Elite Gaming Channel. Check the video description for more information. Get in touch on their Discord. See if you can participate and get your grubby little paws and some prize money. Or if you just want to watch more content, then there should be plenty of things you can explore by going down that route. You are watching this on the Ironcast channel because this is an Ironcast production. If you have, well, kind of interest in anything we do, maybe get in touch. I've been involved in the gaming industry for almost 10 years now. I'm a happy chappy, so if you've got any ideas or thoughts you want to express, go ahead. As an example, if you want to cast Age of Empires 4 and need video editing tips or have no idea where to start, that's an easy question to respond to. I'd love to see more content out there, which is why I'll happily answer questions like that and why these videos aren't monetized. There's no adverts here. Right, that's enough of that advert. On with the game of death. A poor villager is running away from two scouts, and the two scouts are running away from two spearmen, and everyone's running into arrows. Good job friendly fire's not a thing. Seems like a waste of scouts to me. They could have fulfilled a dream of just watching over a choke point or stuff them into a stealth forest somewhere. The Great Khan and a couple of their friends and one of their dead friends are now both dead, mucking around at Viper's village. Seems ambitious, but it is disruptive. Villagers getting pulled from their jobs for the honor of killing the Khan. One of the Lodya ships sinks. We have a Lodya attack ship, mighty in its size, mighty in its capacity to spit out arrows. RecoN ship retreats on fire, the spearmen escape with their lives, and you can see just how good it is to have these attack ships on the crossings. It's like having access to early siege units. Some gathering of deer at the back for Viper. We're also going for the other deer spot too. The Lodya attack ship should actually struggle slightly with the light young Mongol ship. The Lodya, I believe, fires more attacks, but has a slower rate of fire. And this one perplexes me. I like it when the big ships do the big damage, but Relic have distorted this logic. They have deceived us, and I feel cheated. The Viper loses their ship. RecoN gaining strength in the region. But it interests me greatly as to why these choke points are left alone. Look at this. Viper just waltzes on through.
They are also constructing a lovely new town center. I think that is a wise choice to try and make up for the lack of a dock and fishing boats. There's not much military presence or production facilities. It seems like both commanders are eager to get to the castle age before leading any incursions. There's the steps redoubt being placed down for RecoN. Both players have been very minimal in their military. I mean, Viper attacked with 2 scouts on 1 villager. RecoN attacked with a Khan and 2 spearmen. It's, how would I describe it? Mutually pathetic, but entirely reasonable. That's just what happens when boats are involved. Much of the resources are funneled towards trying to establish who owns the right to the fish in the sea. In some ways, kind of like Brexit now. RecoN's hovering boat on the North Choke Point almost kills an early knight. 2 knights taking an interest in raiding. Whilst Viper does that, RecoN is doing something bigger. They have moved the deer stones across the water, which is bizarre because there's not really much of an army here to support it. But Viper also has no army to greet them. It's a silent yet golden battle. RecoN reaching that castle age. Wow, look at all the production buildings going up for Viper. They need a military and they need it now. Oh, actually, the building at the back is the High Trade House. It's a landmark that spawns deer and generates gold like a hunting cabin, but at a 200% increased rate. Decent spot for it too, is to get a few extra trees in range. The gold, of course, being based on how many trees there are nearby, and it doesn't matter if they are cut down. RecoN Stone Soldier Factory under minor attack. It's... we're 11 minutes in and it's like fly swatting. This is not the kind of attacks you see at this time. I mean, it's not like this. It's only just 2 knights. If you had 2 knights, you just go for a villager or a sheep. Something weak, something you can take. This was just way too ambitious, but... you know, I suppose the Viper gets a good look at what RecoN can produce from. You know, bit of a scouting operation, 2 barracks, 2 stables, no archers, it seems. Beautiful base Viper has going on here. As I look down upon the village from this angle, I can't help but think Age of Empires, the survival game. Like Conan Exiles. Make it happen, Microsoft. Give us an MMO. World of Age of Empires 4. The Khan having a good look around and pondering World of Age of Empires 4. Contemplating attack strategies as well. Their forces organized on the center crossway. It's all very chill at the moment. Viper is starting to train up their guardsmen. There's 3 barracks, an archery range, stables, and a siege factory. Everything you could ever want for defending. Also, still plenty of sheep for the Viper. I'm not seeing any farms out yet, and I think in the next 5 minutes, this will be something to consider. It's not just about requisitioning the wood in this case, but where to stick those farms. Spring Owl making their way alone to the front of Viper settlement. Word of caution, Spring Owls don't like to be left alone. If RecoN's cavalry could see this now, they'd have a barbecue. Here we go. We're seeing some marching. Deerstones driving up with their Formula 1 upgrade, and at the pinnacle of the charge is a battering ram with nothing to lose. Look out, villagers! Get out of the way! They make it inside. The Springeld should help against the battering ram and the boats too. Oh dear, stones. They've moved up too far. And luckily for it, it can just unpack and speed out of there. The Springalds could take some pot shots. Wow, 3 Springalds now. Oh, trying to build back up. Oh, I'm not too sure what's going on for RecoN. The Viper has surrounded the packed up Deerstones with infantry. Springalds also fire. This is insanely tanky. I thought these were supposed to be weak in this form. That is not the case. RecoN losing their deer stones. They can make another one. For now, though, no yam. The Mongols are out of yam. But what they lack in yam, they gain in spring owls. We could end up with both sides shooting over the river at each other. That'll be a great treat for us to see. Ooh, this is looking very formal. Viper, I shall meet you on the river in battle. The time will be 3 p.m. Dishonor this request at your own peril. Signed, Sir RecoN. P.S. Bring biscuits. The rest of the map is fairly calm as the forces are assembled in the middle. It would be a good idea to bring any weaponized ships to that choke point for assistance. Lots of hunting cabins going down for the Viper. Do we have the alarm sounded for a big battle? It's just an outpost being burned down, but not entirely, because with that signal, RecoN knows that Viper's forces aren't on the opposite side of the river. So they can move up and look to do some damage to some buildings. Taking out houses is pretty good. It can delay any more units from being produced if the population cap is damaged. Going for the archery range next. Units cannot be produced from these buildings once there's an army just awaiting them outside of the doors. The spring elves from Viper crushing RecoN spring elves at the back. That will give them a small initial advantage. The Khan increasing the attack speed buff, but it is the Viper spring elves that all get demolished. There's just too many from RecoN for Viper to be able to handle. The mixture of spears and swords are holding out for a long time. The only range here is those spring elves. And a bolt from one of these can leave even a soldier in chainmail armor winded. RecoN has not upgraded their spearmen yet. They are using outdated feudal age technology. It shouldn't stand up at all against Viper's laser spears and proton armor, or it may as well be, but RecoN is the victor of this battle. Those spring elves tipping them over the finishing line. Yeah, that's what Grandma used to say. She'd never go for a spot of lake fishing without her trusty ballista. What can Viper do now? There's battering rams hammering on the stables, another battering ram in the works. Villagers have moved over to try and assemble a keep. Interrupted by all of the heavy cavalry, they will march on inside of the town center and begin firing arrows. But they'll take an incredibly long time to try and defeat even one heavy cavalry. Viper is able to destroy an extra spring eld, but at the moment, they're not really too much of a priority concern. If the keep can go up, maybe Viper can buy some time. It's a total slaughter as soon as they exit the town center, but at least the knights have to remain as a buffer to stop the villagers, which means they can shoot them down, albeit extremely slowly. Viper has got a small militia gathered up to try and repel this sacking of their settlement. I don't think it's too big of a deal right now, but remember, those Mongols do get bonuses for burning buildings. So hitting the smaller, less important buildings is an economic gain. Who doesn't like a bit of extra gold to trade at the marketplace? The battering ram shifting over to the keep. Spring elves still firing. Oh, a rush of villagers! Pour on out over to the keep. Will they be able to do it in time? It's kind of hard to see because the health bar, I mean, it's damaged, but it's going to be build damaged. It's up! The keep is up! We'd sooner raise that keep and have loads of dead villagers on the ground than put a white flag up. Villagers being chased back to the other town center with, oh boy, spring elves firing in their back. That's heart-wrenching. Meanwhile, over in the plains of RecoN, peace, prosperity, the luxury of complaining about being bored. Oh, you know, there's nothing more attractive than hearing someone telling you that they are bored and place the feeling of burden or obligation upon you to entertain them. Except maybe having your secret hidden stables discovered. Ooh, I hate that. These horses with the golden hooves. The villagers have a luxurious cabin that they can use to ride out the storm going on back at home. We do have a few farms up around Viper's second town center, but it's being attacked mostly by machines. Whoa, this is great from RecoN. They've hit the heart of Viper pretty decently, and now they're exploring the map for pockets of insurgents. It's a great follow-up attack. It's minimal risk, super harmful, and stressful for Viper's economy. I've seen this largely from one other competitor, I won't name drop, but they like to perform a main attack and then branch a few units off to disturb other areas. It's like a shotgun or a shrapnel-like effect to these fleshy armies. RecoN still spitting out those spring elves. Viper unable to get a united front. It's just pouring pinefuls of soldiers onto the fire in an attempt to put it out. But they need a helicopter with a giant hose, but they don't have time to call for one of those or the resources to afford it. Their few cavalry are hunted, chased down like squirrels. Do people chase down squirrels? I know the UK has a grey squirrel epidemic. We used to have red squirrels, but then the grey squirrels came. And apparently people don't like the grey squirrels. You see, not just Age of Empires 4 commentary, but geographical wildlife updates too. Now the gold miners are suffering harassment at the workplace. If only more people would speak up, they could probably equip themselves with the tools to fight that off. Human resources would be the tool, but typically what we find is they are complete tools, which isn't too useful. Not just Age of Empires 4 commentary, but I got some satire too. Viper has almost no villagers remaining for gathering. These must be the last Moose soldiers. They get out the door, their jaws drop. The wide open mouth catches 4 ballista bolts, gobbling those rounds. Really, what is there left to do? Can't help but think maybe Viper is playing some meta level stuff. Trying to tire out RecoN, make them click as much as possible, whilst I would assume Viper is eating a hot dog, slurping a milkshake. Yeah, RecoN, hit that keyboard, exhaust your energy. I'll get you in the next game. Buildings keep crumbling, and yet Viper is still in the game. It's relatively peaceful around here, though. Everywhere else, not so much. The second town center, I believe, is gone. The one with the pretty farms. There it is. RecoN moving up to try and take away any more production buildings. Viper with 19 villagers on food, rest of them on wood. That's 16. Though I can't help but think Viper must also be secretly gathering optimism and hope from somewhere. RecoN has about double the amount of villagers. I think they could end this if they went for that keep, and then the town center, and of course the landmarks. And it would be nice to see a trebuchet. I feel that quite a lot of people have discounted the trebuchet for the bombard you get in the Imperial Age. It's super worth noting that the trebuchet has a larger range, perfect for engaging at safer distances away from enemy counter-siege units, but you've got to make a note of that and utilize that range. Sometimes I feel people move in to engage with the trebuchet at closer ranges than they actually need to be in. They get shot by spring elves. Really, they shouldn't be getting shot by spring elves. If they're getting shot by spring elves, you're too close. I have never seen such destruction occur at such a slow pace. Viper has gathered a militia again. It's just one horseman. Nice, we can do this. Oh god, there's more. RecoN rallying loads more soldiers. The population cap really speaks to us. Viper with 65, RecoN around 140, 150, yep. And you know what? Viper's doing some harassment, and I just don't think any of the villagers are taking this seriously enough. It's incredibly disrespectful. Lots of spearmen. But the ratio is all wrong. These are the kind of math questions we need in school textbooks today. Timmy has 30 heavy cavalry. How many spearmen does Cassandra need before she can spam GG in chat? The white flag is raised. Rus has been defeated. Victory goes to RecoN. Congratulations, that makes our score 1-1. Those are the ratios I like. We are going to move into the next match, the third match, as some call it. There's no time to stick around. My name's Anuki. I'll see you very soon.